What is this? Huh? What's this? Okay, now that I got your attention, this is like a propane torch of today. It's a blowtorch. Now this one I got gasoline in it because I left the white gas out in Drayton. This can run on white gas or gasoline. These, almost every welder and every mechanic in the 30s and 40s, this is what you had for a torch. This is it. For heating up stuff, for thawing out stuff, this is it. Now, the reason I picked this is because this is dear to your camera lady's heart, because her dad had a collection of these. And when he passed away, I said, "Oh, we need one of them." Because these are like, they can date back into the 1800s. It's hard to tell. There's no dates on these. But that's all they had was gasoline, and that's how they used to heat up. So this is a cool thing. And what it does is it's got a gas reservoir and a pump, which I'm going to show you. And the gas comes up through here, up through the regulator, and out. A Coleman stove, same thing. It's the same setup as a Coleman stove. Now I'm going to take this all apart and show you, because you've seen it run, so I don't need to show you that again. So go grab a coffee and come back, and I'll get it ready to take apart. For probably 4 or 5 years, and we never ever tried it. So of course, you know me, nice day, bored. I said, I'll try to get that thing going, Hal. So this one here, now remember back in May, when we were down in California, I showed you the little stove, mountain stove. Guess what? Just guess what? The pump takes the same parts, the leather and the rubber. So I get all the spare parts for this thing, believe it or not. So this one here is kind of a cool system. All you do is put it in a vise. Now it all screws together, and then you just unscrew it all, right? This screws into the top. Is a plunger, right? And that's the plunger. And look at that. The leather is exactly the same one that is in that Coleman little stove I had, that mountain stove. Isn't that cool? And then this here is remember the check valves that the air wouldn't come back up through. So you got that, and you take it apart, and lo and behold, if it doesn't have the same plunger as the other one, right there, see the little plunger with the little rubber in it, it's got the same pieces. Look at that. So that's the check valve for the plunger. We got the plunger, but this doesn't have the parts in the handle like the other one has, so that doesn't have that. And then the only thing on this is really the regulator, which is just a needle. This is kind of cool, because I used to take this apart when I was a kid. My dad had 3 or 4 of them. So you take this out, right? And there's a needle in there. See the needle? That needle there? You can't break that, because that's what shuts it off. So the gas is shut off here, and that regulates the heat by this needle. Now the only thing in there is a little packing there, and yes, we do have the packing in the other one. It's the same thing as a mountain stove. The only thing that you can take apart on this is, well, there's a couple things you can take apart, but not much you can do about it. So this is the needle, or the seat where it goes up. Now see right there, when you turn that needle in, it goes in right there. So now when you turn it out, the distance you turn this out will change how much gas goes through that hole. If you turn it out a little bit, it fills the hole. If you turn it a lot, a lot of gas will come out, right? That's the only pieces in it, honest to God. And then you look back in here, and you just look down in there, right down through there, and you'll see right through. That's all there is, right? And then you look on this side, and there's a packing, where the packing sits right here. And now you can take these two screws out and clean this bore out. So now, what it does is when you go to start it up, it's the same as a mountain stove. Remember a mountain stove? You put a little bit of gas in it, let it warm up, and then turn it on. This is the same way. You open it up, you pump it up, let the gas fill up this bowl. And you let this bowl burn until it warms this up. And then it becomes a vaporizer, right? And then that's how you seen it burning. Now, you seen a little flame on it. Now, if we were burning with white gas, you wouldn't see that. And that's why with white gas, it was very dangerous, because you couldn't see the flame. That's the only problem with white gas. But yeah, so that's basically all there is to this thing. Now, I took it all apart and cleaned it out. As you can see through the orifice there, you can see the little thing. And that's all you do, is put it back together like that. And these are like, at sometimes, like when they're building the Empire State Building and that, and they'd have to heat the rivets. That's mostly, a lot of the time, if they had to, that's what they'd use. One of these here. Most of the time they had torches, but if they had to heat one up or take it out or something, like these things are wildly used for a heating device, like a propane torch of today. But, you know, like everything else, you got to change it and come up with some new stuff. And this thing still works. Now, this here screws in, right? And you can screw it in, and you don't put it tight, you just touch it. This here, you can adjust it because there's a packing in there, right? You can get a little tight, and it'll hold it a little tight, right? It won't leak. So then, like everything else, remember what I told you? What did I tell you to put on the last one? On the pump. Bacon fat, right? Well, this is the same thing. You put bacon fat on it. We use WD-40 because we don't have no bacon fat. But yeah. And then you put that in there, because you can remember, you don't want to pinch it. You got to push it in there. There. Then you screw it in there like so. And all you do is keep, like I told you on the other one, you just furl the leather back, lots of oil in it, and it'll stay in a pump. See? And then you take your seat, gotta clean this up just a little bit. You know, remember I said you had to scratch the rubber a bit? This is... And then you put the spring on it. And then you put the piece in there. And the nut. Ooh, better put that back in there. And you put the nut. Now all this stuff you don't have to put down super tight, because it doesn't hold it all together, right? Yeah. And then you just put it all together. And that's the blowtorch. Little hook to hang it on. When you hang it up, that's about all. That's about all I can tell you about that. Like for heating up, like basically the propane torch replaced it. This was a little bit hotter, but that's another story. But anyway, I'll leave that with you. That's just a little treat. I thought you guys would get a big kick out of that, because this thing's fairly old. I bet you this hasn't ran in 20 years, I guarantee you. But it runs now, and it runs pretty good. So remember what I said. Oh, I say that too. Don't, you know, I'm not asking, but the thing is, don't trust an old guy with a truck full of tools. That's all I can say. Later.